Many people brush away the validity of UFOs' existence of identified flying objects. They attempt to explain away reported sightings of these alien objects. However, more than a few UFO encounters have been very hard to discount, and they prove aliens exist. In this video, we will bring you the top 6 insane UFO encounters that prove aliens exist. Flying saucers, little green men, aliens, bright lights, all of these are concepts that have been brought into our consciousness. Films have heavily exploited the idea, and they've stirred up interest in the subject. While there are many reports of sightings of UFOs and many attempts to discount them, what cannot be outrightly denied is the possibility that we are not the only intelligent beings in the universe. When you think about it, the universe is so vast for planet Earth to be the only inhabitable portion of it. One of the main ideas in support of UFOs is that if there are intelligent beings like us out there, odds are they will wonder if they're alone or in a good company. They'll also explore the universe, as we have been doing with our space probes, and if they happen to be more intelligent than us, or simply have been at it before us, it's possible they've developed far more advanced spacecraft. UFOs are no longer confined to the realm of amateurs or hobbyist sighters. In fact, prestigious U.S. institutions like the Navy and NASA have gotten involved in the search for UFOs. For example, Navy pilots and other military personnel have been sighting mysterious flying objects for decades. In fact, a Navy task force reviewed 144 sightings by U.S. government personnel that took place between 2004 and 2021. The report remains a guarded secret, as it includes classified sections released only to lawmakers. In detailed findings of strange flying objects with bizarre aerodynamic abilities that have been picked up by pilots, radar, and with infrared sensors. NASA had played it coy for decades on UFOs by avoiding openly discussing them. However, based on mounting evidence, the space agency has finally formed a team that's dedicated to studying unidentified aerial phenomena that cannot be identified as aircraft or known natural phenomena. The team's mandate is to examine existing data on UFOs, and it will also brainstorm new ways to collect future data, so expect much more proof of UFOs going forward. But before NASA opens the floodgates of UFOs, we bring you the top insane UFO encounters ever recorded. Brace up, as some of them will send chills down your spine. Alien abduction, 1961. Aliens are not just curious observers. Sometimes they come with diabolical intent. That's what a couple in the 60s discovered when they were abducted by aliens. Their traumatic encounter has been documented and investigated many times over the decades, including by the U.S. Air Force. Betty and Barney Hill were driving down an empty, winding country road in New Hampshire's White Mountains on a nice night in 1961. There were no cars in sight, and they began to freak out when a strange light in the sky started to follow them. Barney was an avid plane watcher and a World War II veteran. When they finally got home to Portsmouth at dawn, they were far from relieved. They noticed other strange things, like they felt dirty, their watches had stopped working, and Barney's shoes were scuffed up and Betty's dress was ripped. The couple would later reveal that some gray beings with extra-large eyes had forced them into a metallic disc as large as a house. The aliens then examined the couple and attempted to wipe their memories. Obviously, they didn't do the second task properly. The aliens disrobed the couple and took samples of their hair, nails, and skin, and they also connected the couple to long wires with a large needle inserted in Betty's belly for a crude pregnancy test. They even removed one of Betty's teeth, which was a denture, and while the tests were carried out, a leader watched from the side. The couple gave more details on the spacecraft that brought the aliens. It was a round and flat like a pancake disc, and thanks to his experience, Barney was sure that it was not a helicopter, a commercial plane, or even a military jet. None of those had any business at the location. Betty did ask the leader where they were, and it joked with her, "If you don't know where you are, there wouldn't be any point in telling you where I am." Aliens in Rua, Zimbabwe. Sightings of UFOs are universal, and the African continent has not been spared. In fact, this sighting, known as the Ariel Incident, is one of the most prized UFO cases amongst researchers. It generated dozens of witnesses with corroborating accounts of striking drawings of the aliens and their craft. The school children who saw the beings described them as moving in slow motion, like they were on the moon, leading to speculations that there may have been an intense gravitational field that was created by the craft that brought them. Some of the witnesses are still alive and suffer from PTSD as adults. One of them remembers seeing 2 flashing lights and a big silver saucer thing that was hovering above. She claimed that it landed or hovered on a stone, and 2 figures came out really black. She couldn't really see their faces, but they appeared white in color. Another witness said that he suddenly realized that the aliens were not quite normal. He didn't even know about UFOs or aliens at the time, but he just knew that he was seeing a very strange being. The eyes were almost like rugby balls or American footballs, and they were located on the side of their faces. Meanwhile, a UFO would be tracked on radar twice a day before the kids would report the encounter. An unidentified object traveling across the Atlantic at high speeds was pinged by not only Mexican radar, but also by commercial radar operators from Johannesburg in South Africa. The radar contact was eventually tracked to a location near the Zimbabwean border with Botswana. In the weeks after the incident, the head of the Harvard Department of Psychiatry, John Mack, flew to Zimbabwe to interview the children. Several of them claimed to have received psychic messages from the beings, warning them of environmental damage by humans to the planet. What is remarkable is that the children vehemently stand by their stories even to this day. Aliens turn up at O'Hare Airport in Chicago. The next time you go to pick up a friend or a family member at an airport, watch out, because aliens might be watching you. They were unexpected visitors at the O'Hare Airport in Chicago in 2006. The UFO would first be seen by a United ramp worker who was directing back a United plane at gate C-17. According to an account the worker provided to the National UFO Reporting Center, it was a daylight encounter about 4:30 p.m. on a day that seemed to be ending on an unremarkable note. Witnesses' accounts of the UFO were similar. The object was dark gray and well-defined in the overcast skies. The craft, estimated to be anywhere from 6 to 24 feet in diameter, did not display any lights. Some said that it even looked like a rotating frisbee, while others said that it did not appear to be spinning. But they all agree that the object made no noise and that it was in a fixed position in the sky just below the 1,900-foot cloud deck until shooting off into the clouds. The pilots of the United plane being directed back from gate C-17 were also informed of the sighting. Pilots are curious beings, so one of the pilots opened a windscreen in the cockpit to get a better view of the UFO. The object then suddenly accelerated straight up through the solid overcast skies and then disappeared. It left a hole of clear air, which also disappeared shortly after. Strangely though, United flatly denies any sightings, even though it was witnessed by many observers, but it's understandable that a company would not want to be involved with UFOs. The Melbourne School Incident. Aliens seem to be interested in our schooling system, as another famous encounter with this extraterrestrial being occurred just where more than 300 students and teachers of Westall High School in Melbourne could observe. This would take place in the 1960s, and the witnesses reported seeing 3 UFOs landing in a nearby field. The aliens were first sighted by a hysterical child who ran into the classroom and announced that there were visitors from out of this world. When a teacher went outside to investigate, he found some students gaping at a UFO hovering close to a power line. The teacher said that the object was round, about the size of a car, with a rod sticking up in the air. In the full view of students and teachers, some planes arrived on the scene, possibly to investigate. However, the UFO rapidly moved away from them each time they got closer. The UFO then vanished suddenly and within seconds. What's remarkable again is the length the authorities have gone to conceal this UFO sighting. The headmaster warned everyone not to discuss the incident with anybody, and the students also reported men in sharp black suits coming to warn everyone not to talk about what they saw. When the Royal Australian Air Force contacted the headmaster, he told them to go and jump in a lake. the pilot that vanished after sighting a UFO. Not all UFO sightings end with the witness surviving. This was the case with Frederick Valentich, who was known to have said, "It is hovering and it is not an aircraft," as his last words. But what did Valentich see? Valentich was a 20-year-old man when he rented a single-engine plane out of Victoria's Moorabbin Airport in 1978. He intended to fly to Tasmania's King Island to catch some seafood. But things took a terrifying turn when he noticed another aircraft on his trail. He then radioed in to ask if there were any known aircraft in the area just after something zoomed overhead. However, he would be informed that there was no known traffic in the area. When asked what type of plane he had seen, the young flyer said that he could not confirm. He had only seen 4 bright lights, but also said the aircraft seemed to be playing games with him. Valentich then got a closer and more clear view, reporting that the object was long, metallic, and had a green light. It was shortly after that he said his final terrifying words, and nothing was ever heard from him again. An extensive search would be conducted of the water and the surrounding areas, but neither Valentich or any indication of a crash site would ever be found. His father has maintained that his son was abducted by aliens, told reporters that he was worried his son would be released in a different area far away from where he was taken. The Stephenville UFO sighting. Stephenville in Texas is not a world-famous town. It's an agricultural area where farmers raise cows and then milk them. However, one evening in 2008, the residents of the town saw something extraordinary in the sky, and many of them believed that they had sighted a UFO. They reported white lights hovering above Highway 67, and observers first saw a single horizontal arc and then vertical parallel lines. One of the observers is a local pilot who guessed that the strobe lights actually spanned about a mile long and a half-mile wide. He also estimated that the object would be traveling about 3,000 miles per hour, but what baffled the residents most was that there was no sound. While there may have been claims that the objects were human-made, the witnesses contend that what they saw must have been a UFO, as it was too technologically advanced for current human abilities. Let's hear what you think of UFOs in the comments section down below.